What's cracking, guys? Bruce Matson here, your host show of Metric Scout Fantasy Football. And a lot happened last night between the Rams and the Bills, especially for fantasy football purposes. And I noticed a lot of people talking up Gabe Davis last night on social media. Like good, the bad, the ugly, and everything else in between. And we've seen this all offseason. A lot of people want to go to war when it comes to Gabe Davis. Gabe Davis has been an ancillary part of this fantasy football process that people are willing to die for. And I think it's fun to watch. And my take about him is pretty boring. I already did a video earlier this offseason, about 3 months ago, maybe 2 months ago, talking about him, but I'm pretty boring with them. And what you saw yesterday is pretty much what I was expecting. We saw a 16% target share. We saw him get a touchdown, score 18 some PPR fantasy points, which once everything ends this week, he should finish around like a mid to high level wide receiver 2. Some weeks that would be a low end wide receiver 1, but considering the matchups for week 1, since they're trying to get people excited for week 1 and we got those high over unders, we should see him fall somewhere in between high end wide receiver 2 to mid level wide receiver 2, unless things go bonkers one way or another, which is good production, good return on investment considering where he was going in drafts. The target share, his route participation is what's in question from the analytics bros, and I am metric scout, I guess, so I'm kind of analytics bro, but I kind of look at things objective, almost too objective for a lot of people. But when I look at Gabe Davis, I see a guy that's getting probably around 16 to 20% target share. I don't know if we'll actually hit that 20% threshold, but that's probably around the top end. Top end's probably 22, but I really see 16-ish, 17, 18-ish. When I look at things, I look for Stephon Diggs to be the dude. I look for him to push for 30% or more this season because he should. He's Stephon Diggs, and that's going to suck up targets. I look for the other receivers to do their thing and all that stuff. But I look for Gabe Davis to have his moments this year. I look for him to be a guy that pops off and on throughout the year. And I look for these guys to argue over him off and on throughout the year. The haters are going to hate on him. The lovers are going to overvalue him and love him. And then just straight line in the middle, guys like me is just going to see it and play it how it is. What I'm really interested in Gabe Davis from last night is when the air yard stats start to roll out. I want to see what those look like, and I also want to see how that compares relative to all the other wide receivers on this weekend slate, just to see where he ranks. And then I also want a 3 to 4 week sample from 2022 just to see where he's getting those targets at, if he's getting targeted deep. I saw a few that were deeper downfield, but I really want that number calculated. That's really going to help me from a week-to-week basis. But I know the Bills are going to be in a lot of plus matchups just because this is how the offense brews, and that's a good thing. He doesn't have an alpha target share, but he's in an alpha offense, so that's going to brew some good performances, and it's going to be up and down. It's going to be a little bit of a roller coaster because that 16, 17, 18% target share, that's also going to have its down moments, but he's also going to have his high moments. So you're just going to have to plug him in sometimes and close your eyes and hope for the best, but he's also going to give you some good numbers off and on throughout the season. There's nothing super sexy about that. You're going to get highs, you're going to get lows, and that's the way it is, and that's why you get so many people on one side or the other just arguing up Gabriel Davis because there's no really clear sticking point. Fundamentals say not to buy on him. However, fundamentals on the other end, when you look at this from like a DFS perspective, from a matchup standpoint, and you look at the Bills and how the offense moves, you want to buy in some because this offense is going to be in plus matchups where it can dictate fantasy production out of Davis, considering the target's going to be there, considering the volume's going to be there. We also want to look at pace of play, and we also want to look at those air yards, because air yards, the share of the air yards, pace of play, those are also numbers we want to look at from a week-to-week basis. Fantasy football is a week-to-week game, not a season-long game. So we want to look at the matchups. We want to look at the pace of play. We want to look at the shares of targets and air yards. Those are the two main metrics you want to look at for him. And the target share, it's not super sexy, 16%. I look for him to hover around that range. I want to see the air yard share. And really, if the air yard share is high, that really tells us that since he has a mid-level, say, target share and mid to high-level air yard share, since we're guessing right now, that tells us that he's going to be a volatile asset with some high production on some spike weeks and has some low floors on some other weeks, but a guy you don't want to ignore either. So I'm boring. I'm right in the middle. If I have Davis, I'm just playing the matchups with them. I usually have a ton of receivers because I usually go hero RB or I go zero RB and fade the running back position and go super hard at wide receiver. So I'll just be playing the matchups with them. So I kind of have a different perspective at the position. I usually play DFS with those guys. But let me know in the comments what you think about Gabe Davis. Do you have him on any teams? Are you selling him? Because some people are talking about selling him. And I'm probably going to title the thumbnail, Gabe Davis, sell, because that's what people are talking about on Twitter, and that's what I'm interested in. That's what brought up the video, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to clickbait some people in. That's how this works. It's how you get your money. But Gabe Davis, what are you doing with him? Again, I'm pointing this back to you. What are you doing with Gabe Davis? Do you even have him on teams? Are you enjoying the production, just chilling? Are you looking to sell? I'm going to tell you this much. What are you going to sell him for? Especially when you look back at the production from all the wide receivers this week. You got a mid to high level wide receiver 2 with those 18 PPR fantasy points. I get it. He was on primetime last night. That all looked sexy. But once everything settles, it's going to just chill in the dust there. But the production's good. It helps you win your league, helps you win your week or whatever. So Gabe Davis does have some value from this week. What are you doing with them? Are you trying to sell? I don't think you're going to get much back on the trade market in either format, Dynasty or Redraft. Dynasty, it's going to stay the same. Redraft, you might get somebody to jump, but I doubt it. I really doubt it. But if you want to try to trade him, I'm not against it or for it. Just do what you want. He's a volatile asset. He's going to give you some spike weeks. He's going to give you some down weeks. And that's it. That's what the numbers say what he is. That is what he is. And just play the matchups with him. Look at the over-unders. Look at the spreads. Look at all the possibilities. But I want to thank you for watching the show, sticking with me. Make sure you hit that subscribe button on the way out. Every subscription matters. It fuels the channel. And then also it helps you out because I'm dropping rankings on running backs, wide receivers, quarterbacks, and tight ends weekly. Every week to help you out to set your lineups. I may drop another set of those at the end of this week. Well, it's Friday, maybe tonight or tomorrow to help you out with those lineups for Sunday, since those videos from earlier this week, they're starting to get low on traction. I might do a tiered list on those. Let me know if you're interested in that. But I want to thank you for watching, and I'll catch you on the next vid.